There comes a moment in every life, a quiet, earth-shaking moment, when the weight of your suffering becomes too loud to ignore. A moment where the silence inside you screams louder than the noise outside. A moment when you look in the mirror and don't recognize the person staring back. You are exhausted, not just tired, you are hurt, not just wounded, and you whisper to yourself, I can't do this anymore. But what if I told you that this very moment, the one you're trying to run from, is not your breaking point, but your becoming point? What if I told you the very pain that you think is destroying you is the pain that's been sent to build you? What if I told you your greatest strength is being born right now in the fire you didn't choose? Because, darling, let me tell you a truth that took me years to learn. Pain is not the enemy, pain is the professor. And strength, true, deep, soul-forged strength, it is not built on comfort. It is born in the places where your heart cracked open, and you kept breathing anyway. Let's talk about that pain. I know what it feels like to be small, to be unseen, to be broken in places no one else can see. I know what it's like to walk through life carrying 1,000 invisible wounds, smiling when your heart is breaking, serving others while secretly drowning inside yourself. I know what it's like to grow up poor, to be abused, to feel like you are unworthy, unlovable, unwanted, like your presence is a burden, not a blessing. I've been there, I've lived there, and yet I'm standing here, stronger than ever, not despite that pain, but because of it. Let that sink in, because this is the first secret of becoming mentally strong. You must stop running from your pain. You must turn around and face it. You must allow it to speak to you, not to shame you, but to shape you. Strength is built in the dark. You don't build muscle in the light. You build it in the sweat, in the silence, in the tears you don't let fall in public. You build it on the days you feel like giving up, but you don't. You build it every time you choose to rise again, even when no one is watching, even when the world doesn't clap for you. You build it when you learn to say, I don't know how, but I will heal. I don't feel okay, but I'm going to keep going. Fire the gift inside the pain. There is a gift hiding inside your suffering. Yes, I said gift. I know it may not feel like that right now, but listen to me. Every disappointment, every betrayal, every closed door, every moment you were left alone in your storm was preparing you for a version of yourself that you haven't even met yet. The woman who learns to trust herself again. The man who learns to forgive what almost broke him. The soul that learns to breathe even when the weight of the world is on its chest. You are not weak for feeling pain. You are human for feeling pain. But you are powerful for using that pain to grow. Personal story. My moment of becoming. I remember sitting in a bathroom at 19 years old, alone, crying on the floor. I had just lost everything that gave me stability. No job, no direction, just shame and silence, and in that moment something whispered inside me, not a loud voice, not a motivational quote, but a quiet whisper that said, you are still here, so keep going. That whisper, that was the birth of strength, not loud, not glamorous, but real, and if I could survive that, I could survive anything. That whisper lives in you too. Mental strength begins here. You don't need to know all the answers. You don't need to pretend you're okay. You just need to decide, I'm not going to waste this pain. You need to choose, I will let this break open something better inside of me. Let it break your old patterns. Let it break your people, pleasing. Let it break your self-doubt. Let it break your smallness, and let it awaken your power, because mental strength is not something you are born with. It's something you build one painful, courageous, sacred step at a time. Repeat after me. My pain has purpose. I will rise from what tried to bury me. I am building strength in the dark. I don't just survive, I evolve. I am becoming the strongest version of myself even when it hurts. There is a truth we all try to run from at some point in our lives, a mirror we avoid, a voice we silence, a feeling we numb. But the road to mental strength doesn't begin in motivation or mindset books. It begins with something far more uncomfortable, yet far more powerful, radical self-honesty. And I say radical because it is not the surface-level kind. It's not the kind where you tell yourself half truths in the name of optimism. It's the deep, gut-wrenching, soul-stirring honesty that makes you sit with who you really are when no one's watching. Because here's the truth, you cannot heal what you refuse to see. You cannot grow from what you continue to deny. And you cannot become mentally strong while protecting the parts of you that are keeping you mentally weak. There was a time in my life when I was surrounded by cameras, lights, and applause, but still felt like I was hiding. Hiding behind success, hiding behind my smile, hiding behind the achievements and approval and the endless doing because I was afraid that if I stopped, if I sat still, I would have to face the woman inside who still didn't believe she was enough. And let me tell you, when you finally sit with your truth, it doesn't whisper gently. It roars. It brings up your past, your fears, your insecurities. It brings up every moment you betrayed yourself just to belong. It shows you the masks you wear, the lies you've made peace with, the places you shrink just to make others comfortable, but it also gives you the greatest freedom you will ever know, the freedom to finally stop pretending. Self-honesty is not about shame. It is about liberation. It's not about blaming yourself. It's about owning yourself. Because when you face your own mirror, you no longer need validation from anyone else. You become your own witness, your own validator, your own sanctuary, and that's where true strength begins, not when the world sees your truth, but when you see it and choose to love yourself anyway. We live in a world obsessed with self-improvement, but self-improvement without self-awareness is just performance. You can meditate, journal, read affirmations every morning, but if you're still lying to yourself about the people you keep around, about the job that's draining you, about the relationship that no longer reflects your worth, then you are not healing, you are hiding. And mental strength does not grow in hiding. It grows when you come into the light of your own truth, raw, messy, beautiful truth. You want to be mentally strong. Start by asking the questions no one can answer for you. What am I pretending not to know? Where in my life am I performing instead of being? What pain am I avoiding because I'm afraid it will break me? Who am I becoming? And is that person someone I even recognize? You see, the mirror doesn't lie. It doesn't flatter, it doesn't sugarcoat. It simply reflects. And that reflection, if you're willing to look at it with compassion, not judgment, becomes your guide. So many people fear the truth because they think it will make them feel weak. But the opposite is true. The moment you finally admit to yourself, I'm exhausted from faking happiness, I'm still hurt from what they did, I don't love the life I've built, I'm scared to start over, that moment. That is not weakness, that is the doorway to mental power, because only when you tell the truth can you start to change it. You see, radical self-honesty is an act of radical self-love. It says, I love myself enough to stop living a lie. I love myself enough to tell the truth, even if it breaks me open. Because that breaking is sacred. That breaking is the beginning. That breaking is the exact moment when the old version of you begins to fall away and something stronger, more authentic, more powerful rises up. I want you to remember this. It is not your job to be perfect. It is your job to be real, to be honest, to be awake in your own life, to stop walking around asleep, repeating the same patterns, chasing the same pain, living the same year over and over just because it's familiar. Your strength is not in holding it all together. Your strength is in having the courage to look inside, fall apart, and rebuild on a foundation that's true. So today, I challenge you not to be stronger, but to be braver, brave enough to ask yourself with love, where am I not telling myself the truth? And when the answer comes, listen, not to shame yourself, but to set yourself free, because mental strength isn't born from pretending everything is okay. It is born from admitting what isn't and loving yourself through it anyway. I honor my truth even when it's uncomfortable. I release the need to perform. I choose to be real. My honesty is my freedom. I face myself with compassion, not judgment. I am not afraid of the truth. I am the truth. Let me tell you something that took me decades to learn. Your no is just as holy as your yes. We live in a world that rewards overcommitment, that applauds sacrifice, hustle culture, people, pleasing disguised as kindness. We're taught that being a good person means being agreeable, flexible, always available even if it costs you your peace, your power, your health. But listen to me, you do not have to set yourself on fire to keep others warm. There is nothing noble about abandoning yourself to please people who would not even notice if you disappeared. There is no strength in being everyone's hero if, at the end of the day, you are left rescuing a version of yourself you no longer recognize. Mental strength is not just about endurance. It is about discernment. It's about knowing when to say yes, I will rise, and when to say no, I will not carry what was never mine. Because boundaries are not walls. They are bridges back to your soul. They don't isolate you. They protect you from leaking your energy into places that do not nourish your spirit. And trust me, there will always be people who want your time, your love, your energy, your help, your silence. But just because they want it doesn't mean you are obligated to give it. One of the strongest things you will ever do is say, no, I can't be there this time. No, that no longer works for me. No, I refuse to be guilt, tripped into shrinking. No, I'm not going to be the one who bends every time just to keep the peace. Because peace at the cost of self-respect is not peace, it's emotional debt, and it will drain your soul faster than any conflict ever could. I want you to hear me when I say this. Every time you say yes to something that violates your boundaries, you are silently saying no to yourself. You are saying no to your rest, no to your purpose, no to your healing, no to your clarity, no to the sacred space you need to grow, and no wonder you feel exhausted, anxious, resentful. Your spirit has been whispering no for years, and your lips kept saying yes. That is not love. That is not strength. That is survival, and darling, you were not born just to survive. Boundaries don't just protect your time. They protect your energy, your focus, your truth, your mental power. Because every strong mind is built on clarity of what belongs and what does not. Clarity of who builds you and who drains you. Clarity of what aligns with your highest self and what only serves your old patterns. And that clarity, it's a gift you give yourself the moment you stop asking for permission to protect your peace. I used to think that saying no would make people think I was selfish, cold, distant. But I learned that when you begin to honor your boundaries, the only people who get upset are the ones who were benefiting from your lack of them. Let that sink in. The people who love you truly, deeply love you, will not be threatened by your self-respect. They will rise with you. They will adjust. And the ones who don't, well, let them walk. You're not here to be understood by those committed to misunderstanding your worth. Mental strength requires sacred selfishness, not the kind that says, I'm better than you, but the kind that says, I am no longer abandoning myself for you. And that shift, that decision, that reclamation, it changes everything, because the moment you say, I get to decide how I am treated, I get to choose how I show up, I get to protect my energy like it's gold, that moment is when you step fully into your power. So the next time your soul whispers no, listen, honor it, trust it. That is your intuition doing its sacred job. That is your strength speaking through your boundary. You don't have to explain. You don't have to defend. You don't have to apologize for being the guardian of your own peace. I give myself permission to say no. My peace is more important than pleasing everyone. I am not responsible for managing other people's emotions. Boundaries are a form of self-respect. Every no I say to the world is a yes to myself. If you truly want to become mentally strong, you have to go back, not to your past, but to your beginning, to the little version of you, the one with wide eyes and fragile hope, the one who still lives inside your grown-up skin, because mental strength is not about becoming someone new, it is about remembering who you were before the world told you who to be. That's where the healing begins. That's where the strength awakens. We all carry a child within us, a child who learned to be quiet when they needed to speak, a child who learned to smile when they wanted to cry, a child who believed that love had to be earned, that pain was deserved, that being small was the only way to feel safe, and that child is still waiting for you to come back and say, I see you now, and I won't abandon you anymore. You see, we think strength is built in the future in vision boards, in ambition, in achievement. But your deepest strength is waiting in your wounds, in the little cracks of your childhood that never got filled, in the parts of your heart that froze instead of feeling, in the protective walls you built, brick by brick, just to survive. And mental strength, it's not pushing those parts away, it's welcoming them back. It's whispering to your younger self, you did nothing wrong. You were never too much. You were just too sensitive for a world that forgot how to care. There's a reason your triggers feel so big. There's a reason some words still cut like they were said yesterday. It's not because you're broken. It's because your inner child is still trying to be heard. They never stopped asking, am I enough? Why did they leave? Was it my fault? Why didn't they protect me? And here's what I've learned: the most courageous thing you can do is not ignore that child, but turn toward them, sit with them, hold their hand, let them cry, let them finally say the things they were too afraid to say. Because when you do that, you're not just healing your past, you are unblocking your power. We become mentally strong not by denying our pain, but by giving it a place to breathe. We grow stronger when we stop silencing the scared parts of ourselves and start parenting them instead. Be the mother you never had. Be the father you wish showed up. Be the protector, the cheerleader, the guide, the calm voice in the storm. Be everything that little version of you needed and never received. That is how you become whole. That is how you stop repeating patterns that were never yours to carry. You see, emotional wounds are like echoes. If you don't tend to them, they bounce into every relationship you have. They show up in the way you love, in the way you trust, in the way you expect disappointment even when joy is standing right in front of you. But when you go back and heal that younger version of you, you stop letting the past define the present. You stop living your adult life through the eyes of a wounded child, and you begin to live from strength, not survival, from wisdom, not wounds, from truth, not trauma. Let me ask you, when was the last time you closed your eyes and asked, what did I need as a child that I never got? And then gave it to yourself, not through someone else, not through performance, but through presence. Sometimes mental strength is not about rising higher. Sometimes it's about sinking deeper, deeper into the places where you left yourself behind, and saying, "I've come back for you." Because here's the beautiful truth: you are no longer that helpless child. You are the adult now. You are the caretaker of your soul. You are the warrior you've been waiting for. And yes, you may still feel the echoes of abandonment, rejection, fear, but now you have the tools. Now you have the choice. Now you get to say, "This ends with me." So don't run from the child within. Sit with them, speak to them, love them into safety, because the moment they feel safe, you become unstoppable. I honor the child within me with compassion and love. I am no longer who I was. I am who I choose to become. My past does not define me. My healing empowers me. I give myself what I once needed from others. I protect, nurture, and listen to my inner child with grace. There's a moment in every journey when you realize your emotions are not the enemy, but your relationship with them determines your power. You see, strength isn't about suppressing your feelings. It's about learning how to hold them without being held hostage by them. It's not about being unbothered, it's about being unshaken. Let me say this loud and clear. You are not weak because you feel deeply. You are powerful when you feel deeply and still choose how you respond. Because emotional discipline is not the absence of emotion. It's the maturity to pause before reacting, to breathe before breaking, to choose reflection over retaliation. The strongest people in the world are not those who never cry, they're the ones who cry and still show up. They break down in silence, but rise with grace. They don't numb what hurts, they navigate it with presence. And that's where your true mental strength begins, not in pretending everything's fine, but in training your mind to stay centered when it isn't. Let me tell you, your mind will test you. It will throw thoughts like, "I'm not good enough. They don't love me. This always happens to me. I'll never get out of this." And if you don't learn how to interrupt those thoughts, they'll become your beliefs, and beliefs shape your behavior, and behavior shapes your life. So if you want to change your life, you must first discipline the narrative. Here's what mentally strong people know. Not every thought is a fact. Not every feeling is a forecast, and not every impulse deserves your action. They learn how to sit with discomfort without letting it drive. They learn how to witness the storm without becoming the storm. They learn how to pause, not suppress, but process, because reaction is easy. Reaction is emotional autopilot, but reflection, that's where wisdom lies. Imagine this: your mind is a garden, and your thoughts, they are seeds. Every time you dwell on worry, fear, blame, self, doubt, you water weeds. But every time you affirm strength, peace, gratitude, growth, you water life. What you water grows, what you repeat rewires, and your emotional discipline is the daily act of choosing. What will I water today? Will you water your fear or your faith, your trauma or your transformation? Your doubt or your destiny? You get to choose. And listen, emotional discipline is not a one-time decision. It's a practice. It's what you do when no one is watching. It's how you breathe through frustration, how you speak when you're triggered, how you act when you're hurt, how you return to peace without punishing others for your pain. It's learning to say, "Yes, I'm angry, but I don't have to explode. Yes, I'm disappointed, but I won't project. Yes, I feel lost, but I won't quit." That right there is emotional power. That right there is mental strength in motion. You cannot control every emotion that rises, but you can choose whether you give it the microphone. And sometimes the greatest victory isn't what you conquer in the world, but what you calm within yourself. The storm may not pass today, but your ability to anchor yourself in the middle of it. That is your liberation. I am not my thoughts, I am the thinker of thoughts. My emotions are visitors, I allow them, but I do not become them. I pause, reflect, and respond from my higher self. I water thoughts of power, peace, and purpose. Each breath I take is a return to clarity. In a world that is constantly shouting, stillness whispers, and oh, how we've forgotten how to listen. We live in a time where noise is everywhere. Notifications, headlines, opinions, judgment, it all pulls at you. One scroll and you're flooded with everything you're not, everything you should be, everything you should fear, everything you need to prove. But let me remind you of something ancient, something sacred. Power is not always loud. Strength is not always seen. Sometimes the most profound transformation begins in silence, in the quiet, in the pause between breaths, in the stillness where the soul finally has space to speak. Because here's the truth no one tells you: you will never know who you are until you learn how to be alone with yourself. Not lonely, alone. There's a difference. Loneliness is the ache of being disconnected. But stillness is the gift of reconnection. Stillness is where you stop performing, where you stop explaining, where you stop chasing and start listening. And when you get quiet long enough, you start to hear the truth rise up from the inside. You don't need another podcast. You don't need another expert. You don't need 10 more books or 100 more voices telling you what to do. You need to return to you. To that inner voice, the one that never stopped whispering through the noise. The one that knew all along what you needed, but waited for you to become still enough to hear it. Now, don't get me wrong, stillness is not always peaceful. At first, it can feel uncomfortable. Why? Because when you get quiet, all the noise you've buried comes to the surface. The thoughts you've been avoiding, the feelings you've numbed, the truth you've postponed. Stillness is not an escape from the truth. It's a reunion with it. And if you can sit through that discomfort, if you can breathe through that moment where your shadows rise, you'll find something on the other side. You'll find clarity. You'll find calm. You'll find you. Mental strength is not just about conquering the outside world. It's about mastering the inner one. And you cannot master the inner world until you learn how to sit inside it. Alone, undistracted, unapologetically still, just you, and God, just you, and your truth, just you, and the moment that holds it all together. Let me ask you something right now. When was the last time you sat without your phone? Without music, without a to-do list, without needing to be on? When was the last time you sat in silence and just were? That's where your strength is, not in how fast you move, but in how deeply you can sit. Not in how many people you impress, but in how peacefully you live with yourself when no one is watching. You see, there's a wisdom that only stillness gives, a strength that comes not from the outside world, but from within, from the deep waters of your soul, the ones you only reach when the surface finally calms. And once you tap into that, you stop needing permission, you stop chasing validation, you stop measuring yourself by what the world says is worthy. Because now you know who you are, and that knowing, that is your anchor. So take time every day, even for 5 minutes, sit in the stillness, let the noise fall away, return to yourself. Because when the world around you spins in chaos, your power is in your peace. Your freedom is in your stillness and your strength. It grows every time you remember that you don't need the world to be quiet for you to find silence within. I embrace stillness as my sacred space for growth. In silence, I remember who I truly am. I am not afraid of being alone with myself. I welcome the truth it brings. My peace is my power. Even in a loud world, I create quiet within. One of the heaviest burdens we carry is the illusion of control. We convince ourselves that if we just hold on tightly enough, pull the strings hard enough, or plan meticulously enough, we can direct every outcome. We try to steer the ship in every storm, but sometimes the ocean has a different plan. Letting go is not about giving up. It's about surrendering the need to control everything. It's about making peace with the reality that life is unpredictable, that change is constant, that the only thing truly within your power is your response. Listen carefully. Trying to control everything drains your energy. It clouds your vision. It steals your peace. When you cling too tightly to outcomes, you become brittle. Rigid, you break instead of bend. But when you learn to let go, when you open your hands and release the illusion of control, you become flexible, resilient. You dance with the flow of life instead of fighting against it. This doesn't mean you stop trying. It means you do your best. And then trust the process. Trust the timing. Trust that even the setbacks and the pain are part of your growth. Because sometimes the universe has a plan far bigger than your mind can understand. Sometimes what feels like a door closing is a path opening. Sometimes the detour is exactly what leads you to your destiny. Mentally strong people don't waste time resisting what is. They accept it. They embrace it, and then they move forward. That doesn't mean they're passive. It means they're strategic. They understand that control is a tool, not a master. They plan, prepare, and persist, but they don't obsess. They do their part, and then they let go of the outcome. Think about the seasons. You don't try to force winter to become spring. You don't yell at the rain to stop falling. You simply adjust. You prepare. You wait for the natural flow, and when spring arrives, it arrives in its perfect time, not a moment too soon, not a moment too late. Your life is the same. Let go of the desperation to control every moment. Trust that your season will come. Trust the timing of your journey. Letting go is an act of courage. It takes bravery to admit you don't have all the answers. It takes strength to surrender your grip and say, I don't know how this will end, but I trust it will be okay. And when you reach this place where you can act without attachment, where you can hope without fear, where you can move forward without controlling the outcome, that is true mental strength. So today, begin practicing. Do your work with excellence. Set your intentions, take bold steps, but release your grip on the how and when. Trust that the universe is working on your behalf. Trust that your story is unfolding exactly as it should, because mental strength is not about control. It's about faith, faith in yourself, faith in the process, faith in life. I release the need to control what I cannot change. I trust the process of life and my role in it. I act with intention and surrender with peace. My strength grows when I let go. I am open to the timing and flow of my journey. As we come to the close of this journey together, I want you to remember something deeply important. Becoming mentally strong is not a destination. It's a lifelong process, a commitment to yourself every single day. It's about embracing the storms without losing your calm. It's about choosing courage when fear knocks. It's about showing up again and again, even when the path is uncertain. You are more powerful than you realize. Within you lies a strength that can move mountains, heal wounds, and light up the darkest nights. But that strength needs your attention. It needs your faith. It needs your willingness to grow through every challenge life places before you. So today, right now, take that first step. Sit with yourself in stillness. Let go of what you cannot control and trust in the beautiful, messy, miraculous process of becoming. If this message spoke to your heart, if it stirred something inside you, I invite you to join this community of seekers and warriors. Subscribe to this channel for more soulful messages that inspire, uplift, and empower. Like this video to show your commitment to growth and mental strength. Share it with someone who needs this reminder that they are stronger than their struggles. And remember, your journey matters, your story is powerful, your strength is unstoppable. Keep rising, keep believing, keep becoming. Thank you for spending this time here with me. Until next time, take care of your mind, nurture your soul, and live with purpose. There's a silence that falls upon your spirit when you finally stop chasing, that moment when the rush fades, the noise dims, the pressure eases off your shoulders, and you find yourself sitting in your room alone, wondering, why am I running so fast? Where am I going? Who told me this was the path? When you sit in your room, no notifications, no goals, no plans, and you ask, what if success isn't out there? What if it's in here? That whisper from your heart, the voice we all silence in pursuit of applause. What if it's been speaking to you all along? They taught us to hustle, to climb, to compete, to become someone in the world. From the moment we were born, we were measured. Grades, achievements, approval, and slowly we started believing that we are only as good as what we can show. But nobody told us how to become someone to ourselves, how to sit with our soul, how to embrace the parts that no one claps for, how to feel proud when no one is watching. I want you to think about the first time you believed you had to prove yourself. Was it as a child? Was it when someone told you you're not enough? Was it when your worth became tied to your performance? Because that's the day you started chasing an illusion, and it's time to come home to yourself. That's where the journey to true success begins, not in ambition, but in healing, not in proving, but in becoming whole. Let's begin there. Let me tell you something. Growth doesn't scream, it whispers. We've been sold a version of success that's loud, flashy, and instantly recognizable. The cars, the cameras, the claps. But real growth, real becoming, it happens quietly. It's when you face your reflection in the mirror and say, I'm not there yet, but I'm not who I was. It's in the moment you decide to forgive someone who never apologized. It's when you show up even when no one notices. It's when you choose kindness over ego. That's growth. That's success. I once met a woman who worked as a janitor for 25 years. And with tears in her eyes, she told me, Miss Oprah, I may clean floors, but I do it with dignity, because every time I shine that tile, I know I'm making someone's life just a little brighter. She wasn't chasing titles. She was embodying truth. She was becoming someone in the way she loved, in the way she served, in the way she showed up. And that, my friend, is the kind of success that no one can take away from you. So let me ask you, are you growing silently in the direction of your highest self? Take a moment, breathe, reflect. Not everything that counts can be measured. Not everything that grows has to be seen. When you choose patience over urgency, when you choose faith over fear, when you choose to try again even after failing, that's growth. And growth, when rooted in integrity, is the most powerful form of success. We spend our lives running toward destinations, thinking the arrival is the reward. But what if it's not? What if it's the becoming that unfolds on the journey that holds the real treasure? Let's sit with that. Let's walk through that. Let's begin to redefine what success means from the inside out, because real success is quiet, it's inward, and it's sacred. Now let me tell you a truth most people never hear. You can achieve everything and still feel empty. I have sat across from millionaires, people who have built empires, people who have won awards, walked red carpets, stood in front of cameras, and smiled. And when the lights went off, when the audience went home, they looked me in the eye and said, Why do I still feel like something is missing? Because they were not aligned. Success without alignment is a house without a foundation. It may look beautiful from the outside, but it crumbles under pressure. You see, achievement is what the world sees. Alignment is what your soul feels. Ask yourself this. Are the things you're chasing aligned with your values, your truth, your purpose? Are you waking up every day living someone else's version of success? Are you pleasing everyone but your inner voice? Let me tell you something. When you live in alignment, there is a quiet power that carries you. You don't hustle, you flow. You don't force, you attract. You don't beg, you become. Alignment is when your heart, your actions, and your spirit are in sync. I want you to think about the last time you did something that lit you up, not because someone applauded, but because it felt right. That's alignment. Success isn't just reaching goals, it's reaching yourself in the process. It's when you say, "This may not make me famous, but it makes me whole. This may not make me rich, but it makes me real. This may not impress others, but it honors my soul." That is the kind of success that doesn't fade. Because when you are in alignment, your spirit expands. Your energy becomes magnetic. Your joy becomes effortless. And that's the success that whispers in the dark. You are exactly where you need to be. So I ask you today, are you aligned with your truth, or are you performing for applause? Because the moment you start choosing alignment over achievement, peace over perfection, purpose over pressure, that's when real success begins to unfold. Let's move toward that together, step by step, truth by truth, because that version of success, that's the one worth becoming. There is a truth about success that so many miss. We live in a world obsessed with being seen. To be seen as powerful, to be seen as accomplished, to be seen as the one on stage, the one in the limelight. But let me tell you something. True success has very little to do with being seen. It's not about the applause that echoes in a packed arena. It's about the quiet moments when you touch someone's life in a way that changes their world. When I say success is service, I'm talking about a radical shift. From what can I get to what can I give? From chasing headlines to creating hotlines. Let me tell you about a man. I once met a man who changed my entire understanding of what it means to be successful. He was not rich by the world's measure. He didn't have awards on his shelf or a name in the headlines. But what he did have was a heart so full it overflowed into every life he touched. He ran a small community center in a neighborhood forgotten by the world. Every morning before the sun rose, he opened the doors to kids who had nowhere else to go. No fancy programs, no flashy gimmicks, just love, just presence. And he listened, not just heard their words, but listened deeply to their fears, their dreams, their silent cries for hope. One young boy once told him, "No one has ever believed in me." That man simply said, "I believe in you." And that belief became the seed from which a life transformed. Years later, that boy graduated college, became a teacher, and came back to that community center to give back. That man never sought recognition. He never chased glory. He simply served, and that service, it built a legacy far greater than any trophy. Success isn't about being the loudest in the room. It's about being the one who lifts others up quietly and steadily. And here's the beauty. When you serve, the spotlight finds you naturally. But you don't serve for the spotlight. You serve because it is the soul's calling. Because when you help others rise, you rise with them. Because service, any followers you have, it's about how many lives you lift when no one is watching. There is a story about a woman named Rosa. Rosa was a single mother working 2 jobs to support her children. She didn't have time for fame. She didn't have money for glamour. But every day she found ways to help her neighbors, whether it was babysitting for a family in need or knitting scarves for the elderly in winter. Rosa's success was not measured in dollars, but in the warmth she spread. Her children grew up learning that true success was found in kindness. That's service, that's legacy. When you serve, you create a chain of hope that stretches far beyond your lifetime. It's like lighting candles in the dark, one flame, then another and another, and suddenly the whole room glows. But here's a question I want you to sit with deeply. Are you willing to let go of the need for external validation? Are you ready to serve even when no one is watching? Because that is where true success lies, in the humble acts that change the world, one person at a time. So today, I invite you to open your heart to service, to see success not as a trophy or a title, but as a chance to be a blessing, to live a life that matters not because of the spotlight, but because of the love you give away. Remember, the greatest leaders, the most successful people, they all have one thing in common: a heart that serves, a spirit that uplifts, a soul that shines brightest when helping others rise. And that, my dear friend, is the true meaning of success. Failure, that word, it can feel like a heavy stone in your chest, a shadow that looms over your dreams. It can silence your hopes, dim your spirit, and make you question your very worth. But here's the profound truth I want you to hold close. Failure is not your enemy. It is the sacred soil from which every great success springs. You see, the world often tells us that success means perfection, that winning means never falling. But life teaches us something different. Life says, to rise, you must first fall. To grow, you must first stumble. To succeed, you must first endure failure. I want you to take a moment and think about the most inspiring people you know, people who have achieved great things, whose stories uplift your soul. Did they never fail? No, they failed and failed and failed some more. But here's the difference. They did not let failure define them. They allowed failure to refine them. Failure became their greatest teacher, their fiercest motivator. Let me tell you about Michael Jordan. Before he became a basketball legend, Michael was cut from his high school varsity team. Imagine the heartbreak, the humiliation. But did he quit? No. He used that failure as fuel. He trained harder, practiced longer, and came back stronger. Michael Jordan once said, "I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. On 26 occasions, I've been entrusted to take the game-winning shot, and missed. I've failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed." His story shows us that failure is not the opposite of success, it's part of success. It's the grit, the grind, the perseverance that makes victory sweet. Now, let's talk about the fear that failure brings. Fear is one of the greatest chains that hold us back. Fear whispers lies in our ears. You're not good enough. You'll never make it. Why even try? But what if we chose to listen to a different voice? A voice inside us that says, failure is temporary. Your dreams are worth the risk. That voice is courage, and courage is what moves us forward. You see, courage isn't the absence of fear. It's acting in spite of fear. Every time you face your fear of failure and step forward anyway, you grow stronger. You build resilience, that unshakable spirit that says, I will try again. I will rise again. Let me share a story about J.K. Rowling, the author of the Harry Potter series. Before her books became a global phenomenon, Rowling faced rejection after rejection. She was a single mother living on welfare. Her manuscript was turned down by multiple publishers. She could have given up, but she didn't. She believed in her story. She believed in herself, and her persistence changed the world of literature forever. What can we learn from her that your dreams are worth fighting for? That failure is just a bend in the road, not the end of the road. Another truth about failure is that it teaches humility. When you fail, you realize you're human. You see your vulnerabilities, your limitations. But that humility is a gift. It connects us to others. It deepens our empathy. It reminds us that we are all on this journey together, struggling, learning, growing. When you open yourself to failure, you open yourself to transformation. Every failure is a chance to look inward, to ask hard questions. What can I learn? Where did I fall short? How can I do better next time? That reflection is the key to turning failure into growth. It's what transforms a setback into a comeback. And oh, the stories of comebacks. Take Oprah Winfrey herself. My own journey is full of setbacks. I was told I was unfit for television. I was fired from my first TV job, but I never let that define me. Instead, I used every no as a stepping stone. I embraced failure as a teacher, and here I stand today, sharing this message with you. If I can do it, so can you. You see, the journey to success is not glamorous. Yourself matters. Second, we develop a growth mindset. This means seeing challenges and failures as opportunities to grow, rather than signs of defeat. When you embrace a growth mindset, you become unstoppable. You see every obstacle as a stepping stone, every failure as a lesson. Third, surround yourself with support. Seek mentors, friends, and communities who believe in you, who will remind you of your worth when you forget, who will lift you up when you stumble. No one succeeds alone. Fourth, practice self-compassion. Be kind to yourself in moments of failure. Remember that you are human, that making mistakes is part of the journey. Don't beat yourself up. Instead, say, "It's okay, I'm doing my best." Lastly, keep moving forward. Success is a marathon, not a sprint. It's about putting one foot in front of the other, day after day. And every step counts. I want to close this part with a challenge for you. The next time you fail, don't run from it. Don't hide. Face it with courage. Look it in the eye and say, "Thank you. Thank you for teaching me. Thank you for shaping me. Thank you for preparing me for the success that is coming." Because failure is not the end. It is the bridge to your dreams, your greatness, your destiny. So rise up, my friend. Rise with the strength of 1,000 failures behind you. Rise with the wisdom they have gifted you. Rise knowing that you are becoming everything you were meant to be. And know this, your best chapters are yet to be written. Every great journey begins with a vision, a clear picture of what you want your life to be. Vision is more than a goal. It's the fire in your heart, the compass that points you toward your purpose. It's what gets you up in the morning, even when the world feels heavy. Without a vision, you are like a ship lost at sea, tossed by every wave, with no anchor, no direction. But with a vision, you have clarity, you have focus, you have a reason to keep moving, no matter what. Vision is the language of the soul. It speaks to your deepest desires and calls you to greatness. So, how do you cultivate a vision that truly inspires you? First, you must deeply listen to your heart. What lights you up? What makes you come alive? What do you dream about when no one is watching? These are clues to your vision. Don't be afraid to dream big. Dream without limits, because your vision is your birthright. No dream is too grand, no aspiration too bold. Remember, the greatest visionaries of our time started with a single spark. Martin Luther King Jr. had a dream, a vision of equality and justice. Malala Yousafzai dreamed of education for every girl. Elon Musk envisions a future where humans explore Mars. Each of these began with a vision that stirred their soul, and your vision can be just as powerful. Next, write it down, put your vision into words. Describe it in vivid detail. Where are you? What are you doing? Who is with you? How do you feel? Writing your vision makes it real. It connects your mind and heart. It sets your intention. Then, create a vision board, a collage of images, words, and symbols that represent your dream. Place it where a woman named Aisha. She dreamed of becoming an artist but faced constant discouragement. People told her it wasn't practical, that she should choose a real job. But Aisha held on to her vision. She painted every day. She took classes. She shared her art with the world. Years later, Aisha's paintings are displayed in galleries. She lives her dream. Her vision was her guiding star. So today, I challenge you. What is your vision? What do you want your life to look like? Don't hold back. Speak it aloud. Write it down. See it clearly. And then take the next step, whatever that may be, because your vision is not just a dream. It is your future. It is your power. It is your gift to the world. Discipline and consistency, these two words hold the key to turning your dreams into reality. You can have the most beautiful vision, the strongest desire, but without discipline and consistency, that vision remains just a wish. Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. It's the quiet strength that keeps you moving forward when motivation fades. It's showing up day after day, even when you don't feel like it. Consistency is the rhythm of success. It's the daily habits, the repeated actions that compound over time. It's how you transform ordinary moments into extraordinary outcomes. Now, I want you to imagine a tree, a mighty oak tree. It doesn't grow overnight. It starts as a tiny seed, but with consistent watering, nurturing, and care day after day, season after season, it grows tall and strong. Your discipline is like that watering. Your consistency is the sunlight. Together, they create unstoppable growth. Let me share a story about Serena Williams. Her discipline in training, her consistency in practice, her relentless work ethic, that's what made her a champion. She didn't become the greatest overnight. It took years of waking up before dawn, pushing through pain, and never giving up. Discipline means making choices that align with your vision, even when temptations try to pull you away. It means prioritizing your goals over momentary pleasure. It means saying no to distractions and yes to your dreams. But discipline doesn't mean punishment. It means love and respect for yourself. It means committing to your highest good. One way to build discipline is by creating routines. Routines simplify your decisions. They reduce willpower fatigue. When good habits become automatic, discipline becomes easier. Start small. Pick one habit that supports your vision. Maybe it's waking up 30 minutes earlier to meditate or read. Maybe it's dedicating time every day to practice your craft. Whatever it is, commit to it. And be patient with yourself. Consistency is not perfection. It's persistence. It's getting back up when you slip. It's forgiving yourself and moving forward. Remember, success is not about being perfect. It's about being persistent. It's about progress, not perfection. Now, here's an exercise for you. Write down 3 daily habits that will bring you closer to your vision. Commit to practicing them every day for 30 days. Track your progress. Celebrate small wins. When you do this, you build momentum. Momentum is powerful. It creates energy that propels you forward. Another important aspect of discipline is managing your environment. Surround yourself with people who support your goals. Create spaces that inspire focus and creativity. Remove distractions that drain your energy. Your environment shapes your habits. Change your environment, and you change your behavior. Also, be mindful of your self-talk. The way you speak to yourself can either build discipline or break it down. Replace self-criticism with encouragement. Say, I am capable, I am committed, I can do this. This positive mindset fuels your consistency. Let me remind you that discipline and consistency are muscles. The more you use them, the stronger they become. They require practice, patience, and persistence. But the payoff is immeasurable. When you build unshakable discipline and consistency, you create a foundation for lasting success. You become someone who doesn't quit, someone who perseveres, someone who turns dreams into reality. So, my friend, today is the day to start. Start building your discipline, start embracing consistency, and watch as your life transforms in ways you never imagined as we come to the close of this journey together. I want you to feel this truth deep within your soul. Success is not a distant dream reserved for the lucky few. It is a calling, a promise, a path that belongs to you right here, right now. You have the vision, you have the discipline, you have the strength within you to rise again and again. Remember, life's greatest victories are not in never falling, but in rising every time you fall. Your story is still being written, and the pen is in your hands. So, as you step forward from today, carry this with you. Every small step, every act of courage, every moment you choose faith over fear, you are building a life of greatness. You are creating a legacy of hope, inspiration, and triumph. You are worthy of the success you seek. You are capable beyond measure, and you are never alone on this journey. I believe in you. The world believes in you. Now it's time for you to believe in yourself. Go forth boldly, dream wildly, work relentlessly, and live a life that lights the world on fire. Thank you for sharing this moment with me. Until we meet again, keep shining your light. Keep walking your path, and keep rising. Because your best life is waiting, and it begins today.